AFR Talk.
You're listening to Focal Point with Brian Fisher.
Video segments of today's program will be posted at afr.net and on the Focal Point Facebook page. You'll also find the best collection of Brian's resources on our Facebook page. If you're on Twitter, you can be among the first every morning to find out what today's show will be about. Just follow Brian at Brian J. Fisher.
Hi, and welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk, Free for All Friday. Talk about anything that's been in the news this week, anything we've covered on this program, 888-589-8840. Let's grab a quick call to start this segment. Let's go to Jane in Glen Island, Virginia. Jane, thank you for calling and thank you for waiting. What's on your mind?
Hey, Brian.
Hey.
I guess I'm one of those extremists Tom was talking about.
Well, don't even think about serving your country, Jane. Don't even think about it because you're not wanted. You represent a danger. You represent a threat to everything America stands for.
But I'm getting ready to send my 18-year-old grandson into the Marines on November 26th.
Well, good for him.
And I just ask for prayer for him.
Yeah, absolutely. May God protect him.
But well, he's a Christian. So, but anyway, the reason I'm calling is I know you've moved on to other topics, but I am unfortunate enough to have Eric Cantor as my representative here in the 7th District of Virginia, and he is also the majority leader of the House. And I called his office 2 weeks ago and politely inquired, his Washington office and his Richmond office, and politely inquired when was he going to have any town halls. Well, both offices told me they didn't have any information about that. They don't know anything about that.
Wow.
And I said, okay, well, can you let him know that we would like to have a town hall? They just kind of blew me off. Their suggestion was just check the website and go to his website and check it, and the information will be on there. Well, I've checked it every day for 2 weeks. There's nothing on there.
Yeah, and
what a sad state of affairs when the majority leader, who should be setting an example, can't even hold a town hall.
Well, and what that tells us, Jane, that tells us that we are having an effect. They're afraid of us. They're running from us. They are hiding from us because they know if they have one of these town hall meetings, we're going to push them on things like immigration. We are opposed to amnesty. We do not want to see people who break our immigration laws rewarded. We don't want to see them jumping ahead of the 4 million people that are waiting patiently overseas. That's not what we want. They know they're going to get pushed on that. They know we don't want 57 million additional workers coming into America when we have an unemployment. We have 56 million people unemployed right now or underemployed. We don't want that. They know they're going to get pushed on that. They know they're going to get pushed on Obamacare. Are you going to defund Obamacare through the continuing resolution? Yes or no? They don't want those kind of questions. So it's aggravating, Jane, but I mean, it is telling that they know. See, what this means, what Eric Cantor is admitting to you, Jane, is that he is on the, he is providing governance against the wishes of his own constituents. He's governing against what his own constituents like you want. That's why he doesn't want to meet with you. Back in 2010, Tea Party fervor, these people could not wait to meet with us, Jane. Remember that? They couldn't wait to meet with us. We're here to represent the Tea Party. We're going to go back to D.C. We're going to take out Obamacare. We're going to take that thing down. You send us back there, and we're going to transform the way Washington does business. Now, we're the people that sent them there, and now they're avoiding us like we have the bubonic plague. So it's a sad state of affairs, Jane. I agree. So.
Well, Brian, don't ever kid yourself thinking Eric Cantor considered himself part of the Tea Party, because he was up there before we did all the work we did, and I cannot believe the people in this district reelected him.
Yeah.
He has done nothing for us, absolutely nothing.
All right, Jane. Well, listen, I appreciate the call. And Jane, so, and the problem with Eric Cantor, he's a majority leader, so he's got a lot of juice in the House, and he's out there pushing this amnesty thing, the permanent Democratic majority Marco Rubio amnesty bill, and avoiding his own constituents. Here's a piece from Christopher Lane in Time Magazine. This is interesting to me, and Rob, let's have clip 3 ready to go. This is an interesting thing to me because this is Time Magazine. I just want to read some excerpts in light of what we've seen happen with this Chris Lane murder by these 2 black kids, probably an initiation rite. They said they did it because they were bored. We've got this 89-year-old veteran attacked and beaten to death with flashlights in the parking lot of the Elks Lodge in Spokane, Washington. And here's what Christopher Lane says, writing in Time magazine. This is not an organ of the right. This is an uber left-wing website. The right is complaining, writes Christopher Lane, that the media is making nothing of the fact that 2 of the teens were black, whereas Lane was white, as opposed to the massive alarm sounded in cases such as white or whitish George Zimmerman killing black Trayvon Martin. And again, the cry was heard that there is more, quote, black on black, end quote, or black on white crime than white on black crime, which is an absolute truth, and that young black men are in fact more of a problem than people like Zimmerman. So it's just fake to pretend that the association of young black men with violence comes out of thin air. Young black men murder 14 times more than young white men. And we're reading this in Time magazine. If the kinds of things I just mentioned were regularly done by whites, it would be trumpeted as justification for being scared to death of them. It's not that black communities are in complete denial about these statistics, but let's face it, black America isn't nearly as indignant about black boys killing one another or whites as about the occasional white cop killing one black boy, even though the former wreaks much more havoc in black communities. Who's to say what would happen if black America exerted even half of the emotional fervor and brain power it does over cases like Martin's to thinking about how to keep black boys from going wrong? Annette John Hall had some wise words on this last year. What kind of self-image do we have? She's writing as a black woman. What kind of self-image do we have to assume we can only change others but not ourselves? For the time being, though, it's time for the media to stop proudly emblazoning the race of white cops who kill black boys while cagily describing black teens as, say, quote, from the grittier part of town, end quote, as has been the case regarding Lane's killers. The media needs to be as honest with black people as we need to be with ourselves. No group gets ahead by turning away from its real problems. This is clip number 3. This is Michelle Malkin. She's on with Monica Crowley, Fox News, talking about this Chris Lane murder. And she says, and the liberals are out there saying this, we've got to have more gun control. Got to have more gun control. That's the reason this happened. Guns kill people. We got to get more gun control. And somebody said today, look, if gun control was the key, Chicago would be Mayberry. If gun control, drastic, draconian gun control laws were what we needed, then Chicago would be Mayberry. Instead, you've got people getting cut down in cold blood in front of church buildings in Chicago. So anyway, Michelle Malkin talking with Monica Crowley about the Chris Lane murder. Here's what she had to say.
The dishonesty of the gun grabbers is naked here. It's as naked as a newborn baby. He is talking about gun control and gun confiscation laws, national registries and background checks that would do absolutely nothing to control evil thugs who will do whatever they need to do to kill and wreak havoc on people. These boys were intent on killing. It is absolutely true.
You can be intent on killing, but if you don't have a gun to kill with,
Richard, it doesn't matter if you're intent on killing somebody. If you're part of a gang, whatever your intent may be, it doesn't matter what the weapon is. They would have found a way to acquire any kind of weapon.
Illegal alien gangs are using machetes.
Listen, we can agree on that point.
Latino gangs are wilding and mobbing people and using their bare fists.
We can agree on that point, that if they wanted to kill him, they would kill him. But the fact that the gun allowed them to do it quicker, we got to get...
Now, that black guest there was just talking over Michelle Malkin. She didn't have an opportunity to speak without being interfered with. And here's what she had to say in that last segment, because the guy is talking about the fact we got to confiscate guns. We got to get guns. We got to take guns out of circulation. And Michelle Malkin said, look, illegal alien gangs are using machetes. You take guns away from them, they'll just use machetes. Black and Latino gangs are wilding. That means they're running loose in mobs, and we're seeing stories like that almost every week where these black and Latino gangs of late teenagers I mean 16, 17, 18, 19 years old, will do these flash mobs, and they'll just raid these convenience stores, rip everything up off the shelves, and then leave before the police show up. So black and Latino gangs are wilding and mobbing people and using their bare fists. It's not about the weapons. It's about the morality. And you look at these guys that killed Chris Lane and Fox News on the 5. I watched a little bit of that yesterday. I haven't heard anything about the dads of these guys. I don't even know if they have dads, if anybody knows who their dads are, if anybody knows where their dads are. I haven't heard a thing about the dads. And at least one of them, his mom is in prison. And basically what they've discovered is these guys were living in this apartment complex, probably public housing, and they were basically left to fend for themselves. They were left to raise themselves. So that is what's going on there. Let's see what that clip is I wanted to grab. I don't know if we got time for that clip. Rob, how long is clip 24, the Don Lemon clip? Am I going to have time before this segment is up for that one way down? Yeah, that's going to be too long. We'll have to save that for another time. Well, why don't we grab a phone call while we got just a little bit of time before the break. Let us go to Danny in Northwest Arkansas. Danny, welcome to Focal Point. What's on your mind?
Thank you for the privilege. A few months ago, Karl Rove said that the next presidential Republican candidate would possibly be pro-homosexual. And within hours, we had 2 Republican senators come out and change their mind on that. And then we fast forward a week or so ago, NBC, I think it is, said that they were going to have a Hillary promotion. The Republican answer was, well, we'll boycott. What about opposing a counterpoint the same time slot, entitle it Hillary Lies? Like if the truth, as I know it was, she was the one that brought forth the debacle about Obama's birth certificate in the primary. And then on another occasion, she proclaimed that her and Chelsea were wearing flapjacks and helmets, dodging bullets over in Yugoslavia.
Yeah.
So, it goes time and time.
So what you're suggesting there, Dan, I got to let you go because we're up against the end of the break there, but what you're suggesting is maybe some counter-programming when these networks do the Hillary biopics. And NBC apparently now is backing out of doing the Hillary biopics. So, Danny, we may not need to do the counter-programming after all. Don't know where CNN is on that, but the GOP says we're not going to come on your networks and do debates. Focal Point, AFR Talk, back in 2.